tonight, even as we look into your word, we ask that you will continue to guide us by your word. We ask that you will give us a more clearer understanding of your word. Help us to understand what is going on. Help us to understand how to be able to combat it and overcome it to bring glory and honor to you, Jesus. I also ask that once again you allow the Holy Spirit to use me to bring nothing but the truth of your word to light to the hearts of your people so that they can do exactly what you want them to do in this hour as we battle. We thank you for your help, Jesus. We thank you for your word. In your name we pray and we thank you. Amen. Tonight, we're going to, first of all, we're going to play a clip of something that took place. And the reason why, because the Lord have told me to make sure that y'all understand what happens, because what took place is going to affect the future of everybody in this country. What had just taken place. So tonight, we want to make sure, are we on the air yet? We want everybody to hear this. Wake up the Christians. Wake up Christians. That's the purpose of tonight. All right. So whenever y'all get ready,
back to, where we started from.
All right, we'll keep following that story. Let's talk about reproductive health and the rights of women. You heard Governor Cuomo, what happened here in New York, saying women can carry a child all the way to the day of birth and then decide not to have that baby. Down in Virginia, they're talking about something similar. Listen to this.
How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
So, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay, but to the end of the third trimester?
Yep, I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
Where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth. She has physical signs that she is about to give a birth. Would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman would make.
I understand that. I'm asking if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
That is Virginia Delegate Kathy Tran, I believe, of Fairfax. She's a Democrat. She is proposing this bill.
Oh, let's roll it back and play it again. Okay. I really want y'all to understand what just was happening.
Where we started from.
All right, we'll keep following that story. Let's talk about reproductive health and the rights of women. You heard.
Back to where we started. From.
All right, we'll keep following that story. Let's talk about reproductive health and the rights of women. You heard Governor Cuomo, what happened here in New York, saying women can carry a child all the way to the day of birth and then decide not to have that baby. Down in Virginia, they're talking about something similar. Listen to this.
How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
So, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay, but to the end of the third trimester?
Yep, I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
Where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth. She has physical signs that she is about to give a birth. Would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman would make.
I understand that. I'm asking if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
That is Virginia Delegate Kathy Tran, I believe, of Fairfax. She's a Democrat. She is proposing this bill that would allow abortions up until the moment of birth. The Repeal Act, as it's called, would eliminate all existing restrictions on abortion in Virginia. And as you heard right there, right up to the moment of birth, you could abort the baby.
Is there any
And it is a baby. It's a baby that they would have to terminate right there.
When I was reading articles about it this morning, they had pictures of babies just being born. And if you've ever had a baby, my gosh, it's the best experience of your life. When they hand you that child, it changes your life in a major way. And, you know, this is beyond. It's so hard for me to wrap my head around. Listen, I know women have complications. I lost a friend. She was diagnosed with cancer and she got pregnant. She ended up losing the baby and then she ended up losing her life. I know that there's certain circumstances, but it's the best day of your life when you hold that child. And there's so many women out there that want children. And, you know, I have so many people in my lives that weren't able to have kids. Girls in my Bible study, people down in South that I'm friends with, who want babies so badly. And so there's so many women out there that would love to take these children. And so it's just a hard topic, because the day they put Hayden in my arms, it was the best day, other than my salvation. The day I got saved, it was the best day of my life.
Well, it's the law in New York State, and it could be the law in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
All right, 11 minutes now after the top of the hour. What do you think about that?
Wait a minute. Let's keep going.
To do exactly what New Yorkers doing. Meanwhile, here's Jillian Milley with other breaking news.
That's right. Good morning. Let's get you caught up on some of the other.
All right. Okay. Okay. Now, y'all just heard what's taking place. And you know, the Bible, let's go to Thessalonica right quick. Chapter 5. First Thessalonica chapter 5. And the Lord woke me up this morning, and that thing was heavy on my heart. He began to minister to me about what's taking place. And what's taking place, the Holy Spirit began to, now, what we just heard is an abomination. It's an abomination, and it's going to bring a nation down. And we're going to go back in history and show you that whenever you start slaughtering children, God brought that nation down, even Israel. But what the Holy Spirit showed me this morning was this. In the book of 1 Thessalonica, chapter 5, verse 6, it says, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunk are drunk in the night. And the Lord began to minister to me about the church, the body of Christ, is asleep. And the reason why he said that the body of Christ is asleep, because there should have been an immediate outcry from all these so-called churches y'all got in America. There should have been an immediate outcry on Facebook, on every book there was. There should have been people, if you're a Christian, and you were, how many of you was aware of this already? Let me see your hand. Every one of you that saw that, your spirit should have been stirred up. It should have been stirred up, because that's another sign of the devil's move. Just like a chess game, the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. How many of you believe there is a devil? Okay. How many of you believe that the Holy Spirit would cause a human being to do what we heard? Okay. The Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. What y'all got to do is see beyond people. And what's causing people to do this is the devil. And the reason why he's causing people to do this is, whether they're in leadership or whatever, is everything God said not to do, he's intended to make people do it. Now I want you to go, let's go to the book of Genesis. We're going to go all the way back to the book of Genesis. And then we're going to see how godly people reacted when something like that took place. And when you look at all these supposed to be Christians in America, and this stuff been going on for a few days, and I haven't heard much of nothing. Have you all? I haven't heard much of nothing from the body of Christ. I haven't even heard much of nothing from leaders about what's happening. Now you're talking about people signing in a law to kill children. To kill children. Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus. Lord. And it shows how the body of Christ, the majority of the body of Christ, is asleep. They have been lured to sleep. Now, in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, this is what God said in verse 27. This is God talking. It says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be what? Have babies. Have babies. And we're talking about adults now. Okay? That's what we're talking about, okay? He said, have babies. He said, have babies. So we got a governor, and I think she's a senator, whatever, wants to sign in the law to abort what God said. Now, I don't care what church she's supposed to be. If she was here, she'd have to get delivered, because we'll make it, I would tell her, you got to be saved. Now, if you think these folks are saved, you a fool. If you think the devil is doing something good, now we talking about children, babies, that are not even born yet, that can't do nothing for themselves, and up to even the time of birth, you can still kill them. Now, how many folk, if you're not saved, your spirit ought to be stirred up. Even if you couldn't have a child, your spirit ought to be stirred up. And you ought to know that ain't nothing but the devil moved his hand. Nothing but Satan moved his hand. Now here it tells us that God told men and women to be fruitful, to create, to have babies. So the devil understood this. So now he's determined to stop everything that God said. But where's the church? Where are you at? Where are you at? Where are you? What kind of effect this has in your heart? If you have the mindset with, I'm not having a child, so it doesn't concern me, you're in the wrong place. Because this thing is against God. It's against his Christ. Not just children. This thing is against what God said. God said to the human race, male and female, to go out and reproduce. Get married, reproduce. Have babies to replenish the earth. And then here, this devil come along and sign in the law, it's okay to kill. If you don't want the child, kill it. No matter what degree or stage the child is at, you got the right to kill it. Man, oh Jesus, oh Jesus, Lord Jesus, that's wicked. That's wicked. Now I want you to go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18. Deuteronomy, chapter 18. It's amazing how the church is asleep. They pick it for everything just about. They'll stand up for everything but the word of God. And that's what we're supposed to be here for. The Bible says we're supposed to be a light for the world. Not to be here for the world to love us. Because we know if you're a Christian, you know the world is not going to love you. The world going to hate you because you stand up for the truth. Now, Deuteronomy chapter 18, I want you to listen to what God said. Everybody got it? It says in verse 9, when thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after, notice what it says, the abominations of the nations. God, every nation that was in the promised land, God wiped them out. You know why? Because they were an abomination. What they were doing was an abomination to God. So God is warning Israel, and God is saying to Israel that when you come into the promised land, don't you learn to do, he didn't say their ways, he said abomination. Abomination means that God despises what people are doing. He can't stand it. It stinks in his nostril. That's what abomination means. It says, do after the abomination of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that make his son or his daughter pass through the fire. And we're going to get into that tonight. Pass. What he's saying to Israel, when you come, when I bring you into this promised land, don't you ever dream or think about offering your child up or killing your child, offering up to another god, demons or devil. When he said pass through the fire, what those nations would do, they would take a child, girl and a boy, and they would take it to their idol god, like Molech. Molech was a big, just one of the gods, was a big old statue of a big old pot-bellied man. All right? And the belly had an opening in it. And what they would do, they would keep fire burning in that belly. And they would offer children night and day. They would take children and throw them in that fire. I'm talking about alive. And to keep from hearing the noise of it, they would play drums all day long and sing to drown out the noise that was doing. And God is telling Israel, don't you get involved in killing children. Do not get involved in that abomination. And why? I want you to go to Psalms 113. Psalms 113. There should be such an outcry from people, even if you're not saved. That's stupid. Why you want to kill? What kind of demon spirit you got in you to kill a child? You got that same spirit that Cain had when he killed Abel. You got the same spirit. You talk about Chicago, man. And you know what? One thing about it. Huckabee made a statement. He said that in New York, you cannot even give a murderer lethal injection, but you can give it to an unborn child. You cannot, a rapist, you can't even kill them. You can't even give that to them in New York, but you can give a needle to an unborn child or a born child. Now wait a minute. How many people? Where's the white and where the black? Where are the Christians? Where are the Baptists, the Methodists? They had old priests on there, cardinal on there, and that's what Catholic does. They was talking about excommunicating the governor what kind of leader you are. Listen, if you can't make a righteous judgment, get a child to do it. It's amazing how dumb this country have got the church is, the so-called church. And the reason why, because people too afraid to stand up for the truth. That's amazing. A man can go out and rape and kill somebody, and you can't give him the needle. But you can give a child a needle. Now, how many of you think that's right? The signs of the time. Folks, God gonna move. The Lord gonna move. This ain't right. This what's going on ain't right. Psalms 113. This what's taking place is absolutely just not right. In verse 9 it says this. He maketh the barren woman to do what? And to be a joyful mother of children. In other words, again, God told the human race to have children. And to be a joyful mother of children. A mother shouldn't be grieved because of her son or daughter. A mother shouldn't be grieved for her children. We know they get bad. They do things. That's why we chastise them and train them. But it says God is saying that he the one caused you to have a child. He give you the ability to have a child. He give you the ability. He don't tell you when all the time to have a child, but he gave you the ability to do it. It says, he makes the barren woman to keep house and to be a joyful mother of children. Then it says, that don't sound like kill them to me. It don't sound like get rid of them to me. Not to me it don't. It sure don't. Why? I want you to go to Psalms 128. Psalms 128. It's amazing what just happened. The devil have raised his head up again against God and his Christ. And he used a wicked person to do it. And tonight we're going to see why people are easily led that way. Psalms 128, everybody got it? Listen to this. Blessed is everyone that fears the Lord, that walk in his ways. For thou shalt eat the labor of thine hand. Happy shall thou be, and it shall be well with thee. Thy wife shall be a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house. Thy children shall be like olive plants around the table. In other words, God is saying your children are valuable. Your children are valuable. The problem is the way you train them. Your children can be very valuable, and God is saying, that's why he said olive plant. Olive plants are very priceless. In other words, there's so much you can do with an olive. There's so much stuff you can make with an olive that when you get, if you had an olive farm, you can make some money. You know why? Because the olive plant, the olive fruit itself is very valuable, very expensive. Have you ever bought some real olive oil? Some real olive oil? I'm not talking about diluted oil. I'm talking about real olive oil. That stuff is real expensive because the value of it is so good. It's so good. It's good for your body. It's good for a whole lot of stuff. Why? Because that's what God created. So God said, I'm going to show you how valuable children are. So he didn't even mention that they were valuable as gold or silver. He said olive. An olive plant. Why? Because see, an olive plant is something you can use for your body, for your health. You train a child the right way, they will be good for your health. That's right. They will be good for your health. You won't be walking around sad, depressed, or whatever. You'll be walking around full of joy. Why? Because your child is doing the right thing. Your child is walking in wisdom. So now, when you think about your son or daughter, there's no evil thoughts coming. rise, a smile rise up. You don't have that blank look, or you won't be thinking about, you know, if I had her, if I should have, if I known. You won't be thinking about stuff like that. If I known it was going to be like this. No, you won't be. You'll be thanking the Lord for that child. Why? Because that child is a blessing to you. The Bible talks about a weary child, a bad child, a disobedient child is heaviness on the heart of a mother. You know why? Because that mother knows if that child is honoring, that child going to have a hard life. That's why. So these are some of the things that God said about a child that we need to understand what's happening here, what took place, and it caused a whole nother outlook in America to start taking place. In other words, another door have opened. When you go back and you read the book of Daniel and you understand about principalities, every time the devil moved like that, it was a mighty move. Every time when the prince of Persia, time for him to come, it affected the whole nation. When the prince of Greece came, it affected the whole nation. In other words, I want you to understand, when David stood up and allowed the devil to influence him to number Israel, over 185,000 Israelites got killed because of what David did. Then David allowed the devil to do it. See, David thought he was doing it himself. But David allowed the devil to do it. So 85,000, either 185,000 or 85,000 people died because of what David did. And David repented for it, but those people died. So whenever the devil moves, the devil's doing something every day. But then there's a major move, I want you to understand this, that the devil does. And the Lord wants y'all to understand this. There's a major move that the devil does that will influence the whole human race. In other words, he influenced some cities, some towns, some nations, whatever. But there are major moves that he moved to affect the whole human race. In other words, God begins to look at the human race because of the spread of the iniquity of wickedness is coming down from the devil to the point that it begins to cause God to grieve that he made man again. That's why it says in the book of Genesis chapter 6 how it grieved God that he created man. Why? Because there was so much wicked influence and it had taken it. People, it wasn't just in Healdsburg. It was in the whole world. God said this, every thought of man was wicked. What you mean my thought is wicked? I didn't think of that. But it didn't bother you. What? Wait a minute. This governor, Cuomo, going to sign in the law a law that kills live children. And because it's not in, you don't live in New York, it don't bother you. If you're a Christian and understand the word of the Lord, it should bother you. And I don't care if you just speak out in the barbershop or the salon or in your neighborhood. You ought to be saying something. Those of you that like to go on Facebook, you ought to be, hey, wait a minute. What y'all think about that? Is that right? The devil is causing this man to do that. The devil is causing that woman over in Virginia to do that. And there should be more preachers standing up telling y'all the truth. You know why? Because that's going to bring this nation down. That's going to bring any abomination eventually brings a nation down. What nation that you know of back in history that walked in abomination that God didn't totally destroy? What nation? So why would y'all think this nation going to be any different? It's not. Why? Because the same God that said, do not allow your sons and daughters to pass through the fire, it's the same God that said, do not kill your children. Wow. And that's what's happening. That's what's taking place. Let's go to Psalms 106. Psalms 106. Now, why did these people do this? Psalms 106 tell you why folk do stuff like this. Everybody got it? Okay, beginning with verse 33, it says this. Now, this is talking about what Israel did after God had told them not to follow the heathen. God told them, do not do what these folk do. Why? Because these folks are wicked. Do not condone what they do. Don't even agree with it. Now, beginning with verse 33, it says, okay, let's start with verse 32. It says, they angered him at the waters of strife, so that they went ill with Moses for their sake. In other words, when they were in the wilderness, they complained. God got angry. And Moses, when God told Moses to speak to the rock, Moses hit the rock. And because of that, Moses could not go in the promised land. God allowed him to see it from a mountaintop, but he couldn't go in it. Why? Because he disobeyed God. He got angry at the people, what they did, and disobeyed God. All right? Verse 33 says, because they provoked his spirit. Now, that's what I want you to make it. What he just did, believe me, God ain't sleep, y'all. Y'all can take it for granted or not, but God ain't sleep. What he just did, he provoked God because they provoked his spirit so that he spake unadvised with his lips. Just like they provoked Moses, they didn't provoke God. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them, but mingled among the heathens and learned their work. This is the beginning. Remember now, God brought Israel out of Egypt to create a whole new different society. And God told them what not to do. And main thing he told them, don't you do what them people do, because they are wicked. Now, what they did, they mingled among the heathens, and then they learned how to do what they do. They learned what the heathens did. Verse 36, they served their idols. Stop right there for a minute. Now, you and I know good and well that a statue, I wish I had a statue has nothing to do with nothing. But I want you to notice this. It said they served idols. So wait a minute. Were they serving that little wooden or golden or silver statue? No. They were actually, the idol was the devil. They were, I don't care how valuable they thought that little demigod was. It was a devil that they was really serving. All right? Okay, it says, they served idols, which were a snare unto them. They learned the ways of the unsaved. They picked up their ways. They began to delight to do what they were doing. And then they were influenced to serve their God. And they served their God, yet they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils. Well, okay, first of all, they were enticed to do what the heathen do. And as they were enticed, you remember that scripture in the book of Romans chapter 6? It says, to whomever you yield yourself to obey, you become his servant. They were enticed by the wicked. Oh, it's okay to do this. It's okay to do that. And when God told them it was not. It's okay to commingle with them. It's okay to be unequally yoked with them. It's okay to do this with them. So they fell for that trap. And by doing that, they got hooked by the devil. And now, because they got hooked by the devil, God ain't God to them like he used to be. God, I don't have to fear this God anymore. Why? Because, see, I noticed these people over here, they've been doing this for a long time. I know God says wrong, but they've been doing it for so long, and they still living, and not only that, but they prospering in what they doing. So you know what? I'm going to dab in a little bit too. So by them doing that, the devil began to break down their standard. He began to break down their commitment, and before long, they became just as bad or worse than the people that was an abomination to God. Why? Because they refused the laws of God. In other words, instead of making a statement, standing up, saying, no, we ain't going to do this, we're not going to associate with you. You know why? Because there are people around saying, you know what? If you don't associate with us, you ain't right. Hey, look, what's happening today? If you don't, we all want to blend in together. If you don't blend in with me, you ain't right. Let me tell you something. If you a devil, I'll tell the world I ain't gonna blend in with you. I won't even eat with you. I won't even eat what you got. Why? I'll go hungry first before I eat your items. Why? Because I see how wicked you are. But instead of doing that, they yield to those people, and it began to change their thinking. Their thinking began to change. So now I don't fear God like I used to. I know what God said, but you know what? I see those people over there, and they've been living. Some of them have outlived some of my own family members that were Christians, and they ain't nothing happened to them. So I guess it's okay for me to do it. So what they did, they were actually seduced to the point that they had no fear of God, and then they began to pick up what these folk were doing. Oh, it's okay to do that. It's okay to do. That's what happened. And that's what this scripture is saying. Okay, they served their idols. Now, God told them, don't you do this. They served their idols, which it became a snare to them. Yet they sacrificed their sons, and then they ended up killing their own children. They ended up doing what God told them not to do. Why? Because of being influenced by the devil. And the first thing they did, they didn't think about the devil was influencing them. They thought, well, you know, since these people been doing it, they're cussing, it's okay, and they doing good, well, I can get away with it too. But what happened to you that you didn't think about it was your whole spiritual life changed, and now instead of being free to follow the laws of God, you end up being bound by the devil. And then every one of you that are bound by the devil, you know what you do? You rise up against the truth. Instead of standing up for the truth now, you begin to rise up against the truth. Why? Because when you rise up against the truth, now you are bitter against God. And God ain't trying to do nothing to you but help you to live a good life. But you didn't want that. And that's what happened to Israel. That's what's happened today. The reason why that governor and those people up there in New York rejoiced because of what they did, because the devil used them to influence the whole nation. And then they had the nerve to say, we're going to be just like California. We're going to start something and let it spread throughout the whole nation. And you know, it's going to spread. But the thing about it, where's the church? Where's the Christian at? Where you say you're a Christian, and then what happened in your heart? Are you asleep? Some of you might have kept on eating breakfast when they said that. Why? It didn't bother you. Why? You didn't think nothing about it. But wait a minute, killing a child? Jesus. Let's move on. Now, let's go to the book of 2 Kings. Let's go to 2 Kings. And then we're going to come back to the book of Psalms. 106. 2 Kings. The purpose is to wake the church up. People, the church needs to be awakened to understand that what just took place a few days ago is going to change the whole outlook in this country again. Excuse me. 2 Kings chapter 17. Everybody got it? Okay, beginning with verse 7, it says this. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathens, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel, which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their God. And they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And they set them up images and groves in every high city, and under every green tree, and there they burnt incense to all the high places, as did the heathens whom the Lord carried away before them. And the weak wrought wickedness and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. For they served idols, whereof the Lord had said unto them, You shall not do this thing. Yet the Lord testified. Now let's see what happened. Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah. Now God, instead of speaking on their behalf, God is beginning to speak against them. God, not the devil now. God began to accuse them. He began to rise up against them because of what they're doing. He says, against Judah, by all their prophets and by all their seers, saying, Turn ye from your evil ways, and keep my commandment and my statutes according to all the law which I command your fathers, which I sent to you by my servant the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, nor hearken their necks, like to the necks of their fathers. They did not believe in the Lord their God. Now I want you to notice what happened to these folks. These are the same people that God brought out of Egypt, that God did miracles. God didn't give them land. He gave them the promised land. He gave them a land. The Bible said it was flowing with milk and honey, folks. That means that it was rich. It was more than enough. But notice what these people did. These people started hanging around the wicked, and then they started making excuses about them hanging around the wicked. At the same time, their mind is being not renewed, but being made like the devil. They begin to think like the devil. Why? Because see, whenever you think like the devil, you resist the word of God. That's one thing about people that used to be saved. When they backslide, the Bible said they become filled with their own self. You can give them the word, and they'll know it's true, and still rise up against it. Why? Because that's the state they're in. They have been moved from a state of obedience, humility, and I love God, I love His Christ, until a place where I don't know whether God was right or not. I'm not sure whether God is right or not. They moved from one place to another place, but yet they think they hadn't changed. That's what happened to these folks. Now it says, okay, and they verse 50, and they rejected His statutes and His covenant that He had made with their fathers, and His testimony which He testified against them, and they followed vanity. That's what they're doing now. They following something, but it's foolish. It ain't gonna work out for them. They following, not that they not following nothing. They are following something. They are following something, but the end of it is nothing. It's like you doing something. It's like you going to school for 12 years and follow foolishness, and at the end, all you get is foolishness. Instead of getting a diploma, you're going to get foolishness. How you going to get a job? Well, I'm gonna submit my foolishness and see what I can get. What, for 12 years you followed vanity. Well, for 20, 30 years, there are people that live their lives their way, follow their career, and end up dying and going to hell. Listen to what he's saying. He's saying this. Testimony which He testified against them. And they followed vanity and became vain and went after the heathen that were round about them. Because, so it's amazing how easy Christians can allow themselves to follow wicked folk, wicked neighbors. That's why, that's one thing. I thank God where I live at. Because ain't nobody can bother me. I thank the Lord for that. But the next thing that I do this, I don't allow folk that's not saved to govern me or to even guide me. If I minister to them, my objective is to minister the word to them. I don't associate with them the way some of you do. That's why I don't think the way you do. But I notice this. Those of you that associate with them, whenever it comes to the word of God, you either a marker or you have a problem with what God said. You always asking Lord. You always making an excuse for what the laws of God. But when it comes to the laws of the devil, you follow them. But when it comes to the laws of God, you make an excuse. Well, I'm not there yet. You ought to tell the devil, I'm not there yet. You ought to stop lying. Say, devil, I ain't there. When the devil tried to get you to fall, well, I ain't there yet. That's what you ought to do. But you won't do that. Why? Because see, you're in a backslidden state. Why? Simple reason why you follow. The Lord said, do not follow the heathens, but you do. And then you pick up, and then you get mad at me because I tell you the truth. But do that stop me? Jeez, come on. Come on, folks. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to say exactly what the word says. And that's what these people do. That's what they were doing. They were doing this stuff, and they knew what they were doing. Now, let's move on. Now, notice what happened to them. It says, latter part of verse 15, we're in chapter 17 of 2 Kings, concerning whom the Lord had charged them, that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove and worship all the hosts of heaven and served Baal. Now, wait a minute. These folk, not one of them were persuaded like this. The heathen said, let's go serve Baal. No, you know what happened? They started being seduced. Hey, you come over to my house. Then I go to your house. Let's go to a game. Let's do this. Let's get together. Let's have dinner. Let's do this. Instead of talking about the Lord, let's talk about flowers. Let's talk about football, basketball. Let's talk. The devil seducing you. Don't want to talk about the Lord now. Don't want to talk about the Lord at all. All you want to do, all the devil want to do is use them to seduce you. So you go over there, get a belly full of food, but not only that, the Bible said, eat not the danger of them that have an evil eye. But you don't think about that. I think they're all right. Wait a minute. Who made you a judge? Who made you the judge? Wait a minute. But that's what he did with them. He got them over there. They started eating their lamb chops. They started eating their steaks and stuff together, and they started doing things together. Oh, we're going to do this together. But not one time did that so-called God-fearing man or woman talk about the Lord to them. Why? Because that devil said, don't you say that. But then they talk about everything. And then they start pulling you over into that, and before you know it, you done got into a lukewarm situation. Well, that's what happened to them. And that's what it says, and they left the commandments of the Lord their God and oh, you know what? I saw so-and-so had this. I want this in my house. You know what? When I was at Living Word, there was a couple, and they worked at Pan Am at the airport. And I won't call their name. And the guy was high up. He worked for Pan Am, and he was high up. They had 2 children, beautiful children. But they started having problems. They bought a house, and they started having problems in their house. And what happened was, Apostle Lee sent me over there to see what was going on. When I went in the house, the first thing I went in, I noticed a dark smell. And I walked in the house, and they had all these artifacts from Africa. all just sitting around there. Now, mind you, their children couldn't sleep at night. Tormented, all dream, they heard things. The father said he would wake him in the night, going looking around because he know he heard something. And he didn't see nobody. Walked in there, and they had all kind of artifacts from Africa. And the Holy Spirit began to minister to me and told me that they came from Africa, but they were prayed over and offered up to idols. So, but they were beautiful artifacts. And the Lord told me to tell them, you get that out of your house and you repent and the peace of God will come. They got that out of their house, and suddenly when they came back to the sanctuary, they testified about the peace. See, I know we got some foolish unbelievers, and I know you don't believe all that. They testified about the peace that returned back to their house. That when they got that stuff out of there, their children slept all night for the first time in months. They didn't have to wake up and go check on their son or daughter. Why? Because what they did, instead of praying, they went out not knowing it and picked up stuff that was offered to idols. See, a lot of that stuff you get in your house, especially from these heathen nations, they've been offered up to their God. People, just like those saved people worship Jesus, just like we honor the Lord, they honor their God. And they thank their God for their ability and the idea to create these things. And that spirit goes along with that artifact. You ain't got to believe it. But then look at you. That's why some of you mess up. Wait a minute. The same thing with that old rap music y'all listen to. That old vulgar music. The reason why your child messed up is because of the demon that goes along with that music. The purpose of that music is to mess up your child's mind, to mess up your life, to destroy you. But you don't believe it. I think it's just music. Look how messed up the world is. Beyonce and Jay-Z, they have brought the world down to their knees. And look at them now. So this thing about offering up babies now is the same thing they did in the Old Testament when God told them, do not allow your sons and daughters to go through the fire. And then we got Christians, even some of you in here, it don't even bother you. Why? Because you sleep. You sleep. Now listen what it said this. It said, now, the latter part of verse 16, they worship all the host of heaven. In other words, they marvel at the things in heaven. There's something to look at and wonder to see God made it. But they begin to worship it. I want a star in my house. I want this in my house. I want that in my house. That star, that thing, I just want that. More than want Jesus. Won't allow him to come in the house. And they, listen to this, but look what it led to. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold them to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to. These are the same people that told Moses, we're going to obey you. We don't have to listen to God. We're going to obey you. Every word you say. But look at what they're doing now. You know why? Because they were seduced by the heathen, those around them that was not saved, and influenced them. Now, and they still thought they were children of God. They still thought that God was on their side. But now God is testifying. Verse 18 says this. Now this is the fruit of it. And therefore the Lord was. Now let me ask you something. You are a fool, according to the word, if you don't think that when that governor, Cuomo, whatever his name is, in New York, when he signed that bill, that you can kill a child, and it's okay, that God didn't get angry. Your thinking is not right. And then to make the statement that what we did spread like California do. Whew. And then in Virginia, this woman in Virginia, doing the same thing, trying to get the same thing done. People, that ain't far from here. And we're not talking about people on the street corner. We're not talking about people that are not well educated. We're talking about people that are educated, but they became fools for the devil. But where is the church? Where are the pastors that's supposed to be telling y'all the truth? Where are they? I wonder how many you going to see this week stand up and say that's an abomination. But yet, whether they say it or not, you know what happened? Therefore, the Lord was very angry. If you think that God is not angry at what was just done, you're not a Christian. You're in a backslidden state. And that's why it's so important for the Lord, for the people to stand up and tell people that is an abomination. And speak as much as you can. Speak. Why did the Lord leave you here? Some of you so dead you ain't said nothing. Wake up. You so scared. I said nothing. The Lord left us here to tell the truth. And if you don't tell the truth, you know what? Let me let you in on something. It's still the truth. You just didn't tell it. And that's why, and the Lord gonna hold you accountable. If you claim to be a lawyer and you go in the courtroom to defend someone and you've never been educated, and they find out that you're not a lawyer, do you think you're gonna get away with it? Well, how many of you think you're gonna get away from God? You claim to be I'm a Christian. I'm like you. I'm a Christian. I'm saved, born again, filled with the Holy Spirit. Oh, Lord Jesus, Lord Jesus. What's happening here is happening just like it was in the Old Testament, and God began to destroy each nation. There was now, even Israel itself was annihilated as a nation. You know why? Because of their abominations of what they did. And when a nation begins to offer sacrifices, human sacrifices, especially children, folks, it's time for people to speak out. I don't care how scared you are. You need to get something in you. Even if you got to write a letter to your car and say that's an abomination. That ain't right. For a child. How people, okay, let's go back to Psalms 106. It's amazing what's happening in America. And these folk chasing at money, silver and gold. Lord Jesus. Oh, God, Lord Jesus. And won't chase after the word. Psalms 106. Let's see what else happened here because of what people did. And the same thing's happening now. That's why your sons and daughters, that's why, let me tell you something. If people don't wake up, their children is going to have such a hard time because of what the adults doing now to bring it upon the children. Like God told Israel, and your fathers did the same thing. That's what's happening. Now look at this now. Verse 37, Psalms 106. And they sacrificed their son and their daughters unto what? Man. You know you don't find devils much in the Old Testament, but you find it here. Now they thought they were sacrificing to a god. But what they were actually sacrificing to a demon. The same thing happening now. These folk are sacrificed to demons. And then verse 38, and shed. Do you think they are innocent? Do you think an unborn child or a child that's getting ready to be delivered, do you think they're innocent? somebody to stand up for them, well, what you going to do about it? Lord Jesus. It says, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan. And the land was polluted with. And you know, the next thing God started doing was cleaning house. He started cleaning house. Now, I want you to go, let's go to 2 Kings chapter 22. 2 Kings, God always started. One thing about God, God will stand up for the poor, for the motherless, and he'll stand up for the children. He will stand up. That's why I'm telling you all, you know what? He ain't going to take this line down. Even if y'all don't do nothing, even if the body don't do nothing, God going to do something. Because we're talking about they have passed a law, and folk, it's in effect. It's in effect as we speak. You can go to New York, and you can deliver your child and kill it, and be innocent by man. Lord Jesus. Man, I wouldn't even want to live in that state. Ain't nowhere in the world I go up there. I just ain't, no. 2 Kings chapter 22, verse 1. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jedediah, the son of Adoniah of Boske. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, and walked in all the ways of David his father, and turned not aside to the right or to the left. Now I want y'all to read chapter 22 and 23, because it talks about how Josiah, he was a king. They found a book. They found the book of the covenant. Israel was in a backslidden state. They found the book of the covenant and brought it to the king and read it for the king. And the king tore off his clothes. And he told the prophet, I want you to go and find out what God going to do. Because in that book it said God was going to destroy Israel, bring judgment. So the prophet went, and God told the prophet to tell the king, because you humbled yourself to my covenant, you're going to go down to your grave in peace. But after that, I'm going to wreak havoc on Israel. That's what God told the king. All right? Now, as we move on, let's start with verse. Let's go to verse 17. It says, because they have forsaken me and have burned incense unto other gods, that they might provoke me to anger with all their works in their hands. Therefore my wrath shall be kindled against this place, and shall not be quenched. But to the king of Judah, which sent you to inquire of the Lord, thus shall you say to him, thus says the Lord God of Israel, as touching the words which thou hast heard, because thine heart was tender, and thou hast humbled thyself before the Lord, when thou heard what I spake against this place, and against the habitation thereof, that they should become a desolation and a curse, and has rended thy clothes and wept before me, I also have heard thee, says the Lord. Behold, therefore I will gather thee unto thy fathers, and thou shalt be gathered into thy grave in peace. And thy eyes shall not see all the evil, means all the destruction that which I bring upon this place. And they brought the king word again. Now, after he did this, now I want you to go to chapter 23. Okay? This is what the king did. Okay? Verse 3. And the king stood by the pillar and made a covenant before the Lord. Now let me tell you, the Lord told me to read the whole thing to you. So I'm going to do this. And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before the Lord to walk after the Lord and to keep his commandments and his testimony and his statutes with all their heart and all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant. And the king commanded Hilkiah the high priest and the priests of the second order and the keeper of the door to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord all the vessels that were made for Baal, and for the grove, and for all the hosts of heaven. And he burned them without Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and carried their ashes of them unto Bethel. These people had got so vile that they had begun to bring things that they made for idol gods into the sanctuary. It's kind of like the Christmas tree. It's kind of like these idols and stuff into the sanctuary. But you know what, though? You know what? These fools say, well, that's not an idol. Well, what is doing in here? They begin to bring stuff. Now, Josiah, a man of God, began to have them go in there and clean out that, get that stuff, we're going to burn it. We're going to get rid of that idol and stuff like that. All right? And then, it's amazing how these churches still want to hang on to that pagan holiday, that lying holiday. Santa Claus is coming. Get you a tree. Put up the light. Get you a tart. What they do? Bring whatever. Put you up some mistletoe. Do all, get all that. And all that stuff go into the sanctuary. All that idol and stuff. And then they get mad at you when you tell the truth. People Jesus did hung on the cross. He did rose again. Jesus ain't coming down nobody's chimney. Hey, Lord Jesus. Listen. All right, let's move on. It says, now verse 5, it says this. And he put down, notice what he did with the preachers? All them lying preachers, all them lying priests, he put them down. That's what they need to do. They need to put every one of them lying priests, put them down, get them out of there. Eventually, that whore in Revelation 17, that's the Catholic Church. That when the world finished with her, the world gonna get rid of them. That's what the world gonna do. I know y'all don't believe it, some of y'all, but that's gonna happen because the Bible says it's gonna happen. But listen what he did. And he put down the idol priests whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense. In other words, the government got their own preachers. The government got their own preachers, and when we want to find out something, we want to bring you all in. The kings got their own preachers. We want you to burn incense the way we want you to burn. People ain't nothing changed but people. Few methods. Ain't nothing else changed. Listen what it says. It says, and he put down the idolatrous priests, whom the king. I thought God was supposed to select the priests. Isn't that how it started with Aaron? Now the government doing it. And whenever we need some spiritual advice, when we need something, when we want to sound spiritual, we're going to call Cardinal so-and-so. Lord Jesus, look at this mess here. The kings of Judah have ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah, Lord Jesus, and in the place round about Jerusalem. Them also that burn incense unto Baal, to the sun, to the moon, to the planet. Boy, they do it all. Boy, you know what? Okay, if it moves, fine. But things that don't move, that don't, you got something sitting there. And if you said it there 10 weeks ago, it's still there. I'm going to worship you. I'm going to set you aside, and I'm going to worship you. Oh, you just blessed me. You woke me up this morning. If the thing did, it ought to say amen, at least. If you're going to talk to it, folks, it ought I'm going, I'm going, yeah, you know, I'm just going, I'm going, man. And some folks sit there and look at it for hours. There's some folks that sit there and look at a Christmas tree for hours. Just look at it. And won't open their Bible. Jesus. Come on, folks. Come on. We're going to tell the truth. It says, and then he says this. And he brought out the groves from the house of the Lord without Jerusalem unto the brook Kedron and burnt. Boy, Josiah was tearing up everything. He was tearing up everything and burned it at the brook of Kedron. And after he burned it, it's ashes, and he's still mad. Righteous anger. Burned it at the brook, stamped it to powder, and cast the powder there upon the graves of the children. Throw the powder on the people that used to bow down to him. Folks. And he break down the house of the Sodomites that were by the house of the. You know what they had? Next to the house, they had male prostitutes. Right next to the house of God. See, their thinking have degenerated so until nothing is sacred anymore. All they want, see, that's what happened to you. And those of you that struggle with the truth, I guarantee every one of you, I keep telling every one of you to hang around with these unbelievers in an unyoked way, I guarantee your mind messed up. I guarantee you there's something about the truth you don't want to hear. And that's why you don't read your Bibles. Or when you read your Bible, you skip over what you need to read. I don't want to read that. Why? Because I heard the preacher preaching about that, and I'm just going to move on. You know what? There's something wrong with you. And let me tell you something. In your own spirit, you are saying, your own conscience is telling you there's something ain't right about you. There's something wrong about you. Oh, Jesus. Lord, listen to this though. It says this. And he break down the Sodomites, and he break down the house of the people. He tore their houses down. That were by the house of the Lord, where the women wove hanging woes for groves. And he brought all the priests out of the cities of Judah, and defiled the high places where the priests had burned it. Meaning everywhere they burned incense, their God, he messed them up. He tore them down. He burned them up. He messed them up. From Gibber to Beersheba. Now, he would have been arrested now. Majority of the church in America would have condemned him. We don't do that kind of stuff. You're right, too. You don't. Break down the high place of the gates that were in the entering of the gates of Joshua, the governor of the city, which were on a man's left hand at the gate of the city. Nevertheless, the priests of the high place came not up to the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem. In other words, all those priests that were wicked, that offer of God, offer of their idols, they wouldn't come to the sanctuary, but they ate the bread. But notice what he did in verse 10. And he defiled Tobit, which is in the valley of the children of Canaan, that no man might make his son or his daughter to pass through the fire to Molech. In other words, the place that Israel used to offer up children at, he completely annihilated. He got rid of it. He completely annihilated. God used him to completely wipe out that valley. He fixed it when nobody could go back to it again. Not to do that. All because of people offering their sons and daughters to the devil. Killing their children. Shedding innocent blood. I want you to look at what happened to one man that stood up for what was right. And many people mocked him, But you know what? He went down to his grave in peace. He didn't have the problems that those that mocked him did. He lived a good life. God made sure that I'm going to protect you. The Lord made sure he protect this man. No matter who liked him or didn't like him, the Lord made sure this man stayed under his covering. And the man died in peace. And not only that, we're reading about it. But look at the wicked, the folk that wouldn't do anything, that hated what he was doing, but couldn't stop. Look at the preachers that wouldn't change, but they want the food. And Lord Jesus. These folk thought just like people now, oh, ain't nothing going to happen, until it started happening. To them, to their children, to their children's children, all of a sudden, God took his blessing off of the nation. And then the enemy started subduing them. The enemy started mocking them and making fun of them. The enemy started infiltrating them and annihilating them. Look at what's happened to this country. Look at people, we got fools in government. We got a woman up there called Nancy Pelosi. Think that, listen to this, it ain't my child that was killed by an illegal alien, so I'll give you $1 for their protection. Saying, wait a minute here, I think your child is worth $1. And somebody put her in office. People, how in the world you think this nation going to keep on prospering with people up there like that? No fear of God at all. At all. At all. Don't even read. If she read the Bible, she don't understand it. Jesus. Lord Jesus. Let's go back to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. First Thessalonians chapter 5. Y'all need to read about some of the things happening in the Old Testament. You'll see they happening again now. Might be different people in a little different way, but the same principle. The same principle, boy. Lord, the devil is taking the human race down that road again, where God going to completely destroy every human being that's not like him. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 6. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunk are drunk in the night. Now for those of you that's going to participate in this, the Lord have instructed me to mobilize this body and have you to begin to pray that the church wake up. The church needs to wake up. The church have been lured asleep. And the Lord instructed me to ask each one of you that want to pray, as Christians, to pray that the church wake up. To do battle, that the church wake up. The church needs to wake. The church don't even have no feelings for this, because of the state they're in. Because of the state they're in. The church needs, we ain't talking about the world. The world is dead. But if you're a Christian, you need to start crying out to the Lord about, just like Josiah did, cried out to the Lord because of what's taking place here. And folks, it's going to get worse. And if the church don't start standing up together and start fighting against this stuff going on, I'm not a Democrat or a independent. I'm a child of God. I believe the Bible. And matter of fact, you got a group of Democrats in there trying to take God out of everything. You think that's the devil? You think that's the devil? I know it's the devil. I'm beyond people. It is the devil doing this. Nothing. And why? Because his job is to destroy this nation and every person in this nation. His job is to bring this nation down. And those of you that's sitting in this sanctuary that do not understand it, watch out. Because it's coming to your door. It's going to happen. Just like those folk in Israel where, oh, that ain't going to happen to me. When it happens, the body needs to go into warfare mode. They need to rise up and begin to speak out against this. This mess is wicked. It's wicked. You got innocent children, and I don't know how old the man is, but he's an old fool. He's an old fool. And I thank God everybody on Facebook needs to rise up against this mess. Save or unsaved, because this is going to bring this nation down. Nowhere in the Bible will God allow folks, the human race, to come to that level of demonic abomination and continue to prosper. Nowhere. You won't find it. Just like he brought Israel down, Babylon, Persia, even Rome, every one of those nations that came to that place, God brought them down. He brought them down. There's not one nation today, even Babylon, one nation today that can say it continued to thrive the way it used to thrive, doing stuff like that. God just moved. And believe me, America just got God's attention in the wrong way. In the wrong, not the right way, in the wrong way. Any questions? I hope it shake you up as you move. Say, I'm going to do what the Lord said. I'm going to stand up for what's right. I'm going to stand up for these children. I'm going to stand up for these children. That's right. Every chance I get, I'm going to speak out. Hey, this stuff is wrong, boy. This stuff is just not right. And you will be affected. You, your children, and your children's children. That's right. That's what Jeremiah told Israel. But you know what Israel did? Israel sit there and did not believe it until it happened. And then they started calling on Jeremiah. Jeremiah said, I can't help you. Call on God. Call on God. That's right. Lord Jesus. For those of you that didn't know what's going on, we're going to play it again. So let's get it ready back there. Are we still on Facebook? They done cut us off. Oh, good. Okay. I guess that owner hadn't got it. Lord Jesus. Boy, we need to wake up, boy. Wake up and stand up. It's amazing, yes. It is. It is. It is. Everything. Okay. The human standard and the human sensibility is supposed to be up here, but it's not. Whenever you start flowing into wickedness, your standard drops. You'll think everything drops about you. That's what we just went through. Everything drops. That's why the devil want y'all to hang around wicked folk. Now, we supposed to minister to people, but not, the Bible said be not unequally yoked together with them. Let me tell you what unequally yoked together with them. Let me tell you how you can tell when you're unequally yoked together with them. Good way. Somebody, you hang around with your first, second cousin, your twin brothers, whatever, your family member that you love, and somebody come along and tell them the truth. Then you jump on them because they told the truth, but you don't jump on them because they walking in wickedness. Okay, let me tell you another way. Let me tell you something. Do you know why buzzers hang with buzzers? They like the same thing. They enjoy the same thing. It's amazing how a buzzer will look at you and just pass you by. And you alive. You fresh meat. Fresh meat. Fresh meat. I mean, hot off the market. Fresh. And they just fly over you. But let something be dead. And the longer it's been dead, the better. They home in on it. It's amazing. You know why they do that? That's the way they think. That's the way they think. Well, when I found out about Christians, you can say what you want to say. When Christians love to hang around the wicked, it's because they wicked. They just want to keep coming to church. They want you to keep treating them like they righteous. But they wicked. Now you can say whatever you want to say, but I read that in the Bible. I read it in the Word. I found out that Christians, real Christians, like to hang with real Christians. There's something about a real Christian. Because, see, a real Christian, you ain't got to fight. A real Christian, you don't have that lockdown feeling where I can't say that. Or you don't hear demons and devils say, you better not say that. When you hang around a real Christian, all you hear is let it flow. And you'll be going from one thing to another thing to another thing, and all of it you'll be trying to beat each other talking, giving out scripture. You'll be, I read this in the Bible, I read that in the Bible. You know the Bible, the Lord, he's just, and the Lord looking down at you, saying, yeah, that's my child. But when you yoke up with the wicked, you'll be thinking, Holy Spirit will tell you to tell, that dude, that lady, she need to be saved. I can't say that. But anything else, you talk about. You talk about. When you do that, you can say whatever you want to say. But ain't nobody going to heaven but those according to this. Not based on what we say. Is what we do. That's why I don't care if folk get mad with me. I don't even think about it. I say, well, so be it. Then I move on. I move on. Because I'm going to heaven. I am going to heaven. I don't care what the enemy says, I'm going to heaven. And as Christians, to see, this is not a Christian nation anymore, folks. And when I hear these folks talk about this a Christian nation, no, it used to be. At one time, maybe, but not now. Not now. This nation here gets involved in so much stuff that's not. And then I want you to look at, do y'all understand? Okay, the Lord said a house divided is going to fall. Look at our government. Well, it ain't mine. It ain't mine. I don't own it. It ain't mine because, you know what? It'll be better. We probably will get more done with children. Because you tell a child, listen to this now. You tell a child, you know what? We got some bad people out there. And they're going to try to get in And this is what you need to do. You need to defend our borders. You need to build walls when the wall. Wait a minute. A wall won't do no good. Well, why you got them? You got them. Why you got them? If a wall don't, tear down these walls. What are we doing with walls? If they don't do no good, tear them down. Tear down the wall. They don't do no good. It's evil. It's evil, folks. It's evil. I don't know why people voted for her or him. I don't know why. I know God didn't tell them. Because, see, God ain't no fool. And God don't lead people to do foolish stuff. He don't do that. But you can take a child and tell that child, and them children come together, you know, let's build this wall. I mean, people, just because it ain't happening to your family. Have you listened to some of those people that have lost loved ones because of somebody been here raping and killing folk for years? And they said, let them go. I won't be surprised if California fall into the... I wouldn't be surprised if God just wiped that place completely out. I wouldn't be surprised. It's got to be some righteous people in there. Some people that's righteous. Because you know what? He sure wiped out Sodom and Gomorrah. And the reason why he wiped them out, because there was none righteous. Not just because there was homosexuality, but there was none righteous. Abraham couldn't find one. Jesus. So I wouldn't be surprised we wake up one morning and California is just not there. I wouldn't be surprised. People, let me tell you, that's going to happen. The human race can't keep going like this. God don't allow it to. Read your Bible. He don't. Took out the first world, the pre-Adamite world, and he going to take out this one. And this world, let me tell you, you ain't going to destroy yourself. The human race ain't going to kill each other. Ain't no bomb going to blow up. China ain't going to shoot, and Russia ain't going to shoot, and America not. That ain't happening. You know why? Y'all know why it's not going to happen? Because, see, America, China, or Russia didn't create the human race. Every time the human race was destroyed, God did it. God ain't going to let man destroy nothing completely. He did. And that's the record. That's right. That's right, but it's coming. Any question before we close? Hope y'all woke up. Yes. Jesus. You sure can't, because ain't nobody else. They say, I'm going to be honest with you. I hope y'all, I'm talking to y'all face. I hope y'all ain't sleep. I hope y'all ain't those folks that sleep. I hope you know. I done did all the Lord told me to do. If you go back and be like a dummy fool, that's your problem. You the one going to suffer, not me. I did just what the Lord told me to do. And I got a witness. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. You can ask 3. Go ahead. I'm here.
My first one is, well, 2 are related to the message, but 1 isn't.
Okay.
Okay?
That's fine.
Right. So the first one I want to ask if I can make a video on Facebook in regards to it.
You sure can. We need the Lord. The word for this house is to reach people.
Okay.
And those of you that don't, that's your problem. I just told you exactly what the Lord said you need to do. If you can't follow the instruction, that's your problem. That's your problem. And you will be judged by it. You sure will. Yes.
And then my second one, there was a situation that happened with Jacob today at school.
Okay.
His principal, when he told me how he handled it, I thought it was in wisdom. He told me the conversation that he had with Jacob. But in the midst of him talking to me, he asked for prayer. So I wanted to ask if that could be offered to him, because he was saying that as the principal, he has to deal with the same-sex situation, and then basically the girls and the boys being fresh. And he said
Who asked for prayer?
the principal asked for prayer, I guess, to deal with the situations with the homosexuality and the kids being fresh in school. He was asking for prayer.
Okay, can I, for what?
He was, okay, so what Jacob was being disciplined with went along with the guidelines of what we're speaking of. And he was saying that he has to deal with homosexuality in school, and then he has to deal with the kids being fresh. So with that coupled together, he was asking for prayer to, I guess, to have the strength to
Wisdom
deal
to
with
do
it.
Okay, okay, okay. You know, to be honest with you, is he saved? You don't know.
I don't know. I know this time and the last time he I'm gonna say he's religious.
Okay, let me say this to all of you, every one of you in here. I don't care how much you like someone, they need to be saved. I don't care what your approval don't mean a hill of beans about someone. It's what the Lord said. And you, those of you that's weak-minded and allow your feelings to manipulate and influence you, you need to come to a place you really believe this word. And this word said there's saved, then there's unsaved. And let me tell you something. For an unsaved person to do spiritual battle, it's like taking that person and putting that person on the front line with no training. Like taking that person, putting that person in the heat of the battle with no training. And that's to you, those of you in here. If you ain't saved, you're gonna commit suicide by trying to fight for what's right, and you're not a Christian. You need to be a soldier in the army of the Lord. And let me tell you something. The Lord ain't qualifying everybody that the word don't qualify. So you can say whatever you want to say. The Lord ain't qualifying. I hear these preachers, especially that old Cardinal that comes on Fox. He gonna pay for what people. He gonna pay for what he does. He gonna. Every one of us gonna pay. If you read this Bible and you understand what this word says, and you still take a stance like him, you don't understand the word. Or you have become your own God. Or your own, well, I'm going to interpret the Bible this way. No, if you don't interpret, let the Holy Spirit interpret the Bible, reading the Bible ain't doing you no good. The only way I advise every person that want to stand up for what's righteous, be saved. Become a soldier. And then the Lord will show you how to fight the good fight of faith. Because other than that, you're going to mess up. You're going to end up destroying yourself. Go ahead.
I had spoke with you before about my mother. And I had told you how, because of how she is, that I didn't want to go.
Okay.
And your words to me was, go and visit your mother. I went, but probably not as much as I should have. So this last time I saw my mom, my mother she's in the first stages of dementia. And she didn't know who I was.
Okay.
So at this point, my sister has power of attorney over her. Is it wrong for me to want to step away from the situation completely and just do nothing?
Let me say, if the Lord don't tell you to go, do nothing, don't do nothing.
Okay.
Don't do nothing.
Okay.
Don't do it. You know, let me tell you something. Okay, with my mother, you know what I do? Go visit her, I don't do nothing else. I've talked to them, I've ministered the word to them, and that's it. They know how to be saved if they want to be. They want to walk in religion, that's fine. That's up to them. When you tell me, when I'm telling you about Jesus, it's the only one that saves. And you have the nerve to tell me that I had a relationship with God all my life, I ain't got nothing to say. I'm going to let you meet your God. I know for a fact, probably most of you in here couldn't stand what I said, because that's my mother. But you know what? I have work to do. And the Lord told me to minister to the living, not the dead. Once I talk to you and tell you about salvation, I'm not going to stay behind. I'm not going to hound you. I'm not a hound dog. I was sent to minister the truth. And not anybody in my family do I hound. I don't even hound my own sons. I tell them what's right. Go about my business. You know why? Because, see, I'm going to heaven. And once they know the way, if they choose not to go, that's them. But I tell you, this ain't none of you going without this word. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you think you've been saved. I'm 100% convinced that Christians going to heaven. Or what the Bible says, it's the doers of the word that are justified. Not the, that's what the Bible says. Go ahead. And you know, well, let me say this to you. I don't feel sad. I don't feel depressed. I don't mourn. I'm not like some of you carrying around a heavy burden. You know why? I got too much of the word in me to carry around a burden. If I carry around a burden, that means there's going to be some place missing where the word ought to be. Once I tell you the word, the truth, it's on you. That's right. It's on you. Whatever you do, it's on you. Go ahead.
Listening to what you just said, I'm wondering, like, okay, so me and Tayana,
Okay.
let's just say she hurt me.
Okay.
And because of being tired and having to deal with my own issues,